Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com or look for us on Facebook at Voices from the Bench. Greetings and welcome to episode 183, at least my side, live from the Marriott in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. My name is Elvis.
Wow, good for you. And I'm in my house, and my name is Barbara. Good morning, everybody.
Just your house.
Yep. I'm in my room.
Yeah.
With my running clothes on.
Nice.
Had some computer technical difficulties, but I'm here.
Glad to have you. Glad that we could connect. It's been a busy week for me. I've been in North Carolina all week visiting some pretty amazing labs here in North Carolina.
Good for you.
Yeah, there's some big labs. Well, I don't know why North Carolina is like a mecca for labs. There are a ton in this state, and I don't know why.
And you're enjoying your trip? How'd you do on your presentation? How'd it go?
Didn't throw up.
Good.
Didn't piss my pants. Didn't faint.
All
I call that a win.
I call that a win, too. What was the deal with the awkward sign?
Oh, so my whole presentation was embracing your awkwardness in order to go out and sell to dental practices.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so it kind of helped me get over the awkwardness of doing the program because I got to talk about how awkward I was.
Yeah,
and it made it easier.
I like it.
People seem to have enjoyed it. I had a lot of people come up to me at the booth and tell me they enjoyed the presentation. You never know if they're just saying that to be nice or what. But
have you been able to record it all?
I've recorded just 2 guys from the Durham Technical School, so I have about 15 minutes of content, so I got to get busy today. We haven't even started the Saturday.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to you. I wish I was there, but I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah. Have you seen that roundhouse come back yet?
No. I had to end up cutting it between 8 and 9, which I told him to do originally.
Yeah.
Added a contact and seated it last Friday, and then,
That patient's on the street, out and about?
Patients in Germany.
That is...
See ya.
They go to the IDS? What's going on?
No, that's where she was going. So she was going on vacation, which is why it was such a craziness. But yeah, she's gone.
Why do people get such intense dental work before they leave the country?
I don't know. I had another 8 and 9 implant that I did a custom shade on, and she was actually moving to Germany the next day. So I had to Uber her from the doctor's office to the lab, come do the custom shade, and then Ubered her back to the doctor's office. I did that on Tuesday. Oh, yeah.
Did the lab pay for the Uber?
I paid for the Uber. I could probably get reimbursed.
You are such a sweet person.
I just don't like f***ing around with stupid stuff. So I'm like, just get her here. They had already shipped their car on a boat to Germany. She had no way to get there. Ugh. But it worked.
You didn't send a delivery driver to pick her up.
No, so.
Wow, that's intense.
Yep, the life of a ceramist.
I guess.
Yep.
The things you do.
Mm-hmm. Customer service, baby.
That's what it's all about.
Yep.
Too bad you'll never see that patient again. They moved out of the country.
Oh, God, thank God I'll never see her again. She was nice, though. All right, so what do we got going on?
So this week we have a pretty special episode. So a great longtime sponsor of the podcast, Whitmix, not only does a lot for the podcast, but they do a ton to support the industry. For the last 10 years, except for last year, of course, they do an event called the Whitmix Digital Forum. It's a great show that I got to go to 2 years ago, and this year, Barb, you're joining us.
Yep.
October 29th to the 30th. So that really means everybody will be home in time for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
While we invited Bernie Jaroslow, I think I got that, the marketing manager for Whitmix, we brought him on the podcast to talk about all the great speakers they will have. But Bernie suggested that we also have a lab family on that's been to every digital forum, all 9 of them.
Wow.
So we welcome the Emricks from Emerick's Dental Lab out of Cincinnati to the podcast. Father Mike Emerick started the lab years ago, and as his 2 sons grew up, Austin and Alex have stepped in and brought technology and a new passion for the industry. They tell the family story, but also they talk about why they attend the Whitmix Digital Forum and why they never miss it. So join us as we chat with Bernie Jaroslow and Mike, Austin, and Alex Emerick. Grow3X is a dental supply, service, and marketing company.
It was founded by Norbert Ulmer, and their goal is to help dental labs, especially small labs, to lower their costs for supplies, to provide business opportunities, and help them generate growth.
They really want to help labs as they know how difficult it can be competing with larger lab groups.
One of the things that they have going on right now is their upcoming Grow 3X Gem Talks. It's on November 5th in Charlotte, North Carolina.
What is a Grow 3X Gem Talks? Well, it's an all-day marketing symposium in a TED Talk style featuring some 10-plus lab speakers as they share their most relevant and practical marketing techniques.
We will hear from Sasha. We will hear from Sasha from Harvest Dental, Ann Kelser from AMK Dental Lab, Frankie Acosta from AA Dental Design, and Ricky Braswell from Beyond Coaching, and former co-executive director of the NADL.
A few past podcast guests are on that list. All of them will talk about real marketing as it is done in their own labs and businesses every day. Register now at grow3x.com to take advantage of their early bird special of only $95.
And if you enter the discount VFTB for Voices from the Bench, you'll receive an extra 10% discount just because you listen to this podcast.
We can't wait to see you at Grow 3X Gem Talks in Charlotte on November 5th. Voices from the Bench. The interview. Everybody ready to get going?
Yeah, let's do it.
We got a whole family looking to get back to work.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah, Barb too. Yeah. Bernie and I, we don't work. So
We don't work.
Yeah. We have an exciting group on today's podcast. We are talking with a family out of Columbus or Cleveland? Where are you? Cincinnati. I was close. I would have got there eventually. Right. Cincinnati, Ohio. The Emricks family. We're talking to Mike, Austin, and Alex. How are you guys?
We're doing great. How about yourself?
Doing fantastic. Joining the podcast also is Bernie. How do you say your last name?
I can't believe after all this time.
I know.
Yes, he's not good at last names, you know.
No, I knew that then, and apparently he's still the same. It's Jaroslow.
Jaroslow. Bernie from Whitmix, as we'll call him, joins us to talk about the digital forum that's happening in October.
Yay!
But first, I'd like to learn from the Emmericks. You guys are, a father and two sons?
Correct.
Nice.
Because I know, Barb, you love that family story.
Oh, yes, I do. You know I do.
Who started Emmericks?
I did, Mike.
Mike, yeah. So what year did you open the lab?
I opened in 1981.
Ooh.
I started out working for a dentist, John Reganos, who was a very well-known gnathologist, and I started with him in 1976.
What is he?
He was a gnathologist.
Wow.
What is that?
Well, he restored bites and corrected bites with gold onlays or PFMs.
It was a dentist that specified in correcting bites?
Yeah, he was a TMJ guy.
Ah, I've never heard that term. Interesting.
Me neither, actually.
An older term, but that was back in the days of like Charlie Stewart, who was a gnathologist, and John Reganos, my employer, was also a well-known gnathologist, like Harry Lundeen. Bernie probably remembers all these fellows.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I was trained on kind of got a classical education in dentistry by working with Dr. Reganos. I was forced into cusp-fossa relationships, doing a whole mouth within my first 2 years of being a dental technician.
Wow.
And that's how I learned. I just kept doing them and doing them and doing them. And I learned about alloy as much as I could. And I tried to learn everything that was pertinent to being a dental technician. And anyway, it's been a nice long road. And Dr. Reganos, to back up a little bit, retired in 1980. And soon after that, it was 1981, and I started my own lab. You know, he retired, so there was no point in me staying there. So I left, and we had some outside accounts, which he told me to take with me, and that's how I started my lab. You know, I ran the lab for 30 years. I've had up to 10 employees at one time, and due to how do you say this? Due to some drama,
In a lab?
Not in a lab.
due
Come
to
on.
some, just due to drama, I will say,
Okay.
personality conflicts with people.
Yeah.
I became a lot smaller and have had a 6-man woman lab. And then my son graduated from college 2014, 2015.
13.
Oh, 13. And he decided he wanted to come work for me. And I went out and bought him some digital stuff in Chicago and came back, and I sat there with him and showed him what to do. And then about the second day, he took his elbow and said, "Dad, move out of the way. You're going too slow.
That's awesome.
I'm designing a crown with 350 clicks. I'm a dinosaur." So he took over and has been doing wonderful ever since.
So who was this? Austin?
This was Austin, yeah.
Okay.
He's a very accomplished designer. Does, you just tell him some things and he gets it and puts it in his brain and produces beautiful work. And then a few years after that, we hired Alex, and he's been training now for 6 years.
Pretty much.
Almost
going
6
on 7, yeah.
Yeah, 6 years.
You're past training, aren't you?
Well, I've hit every step along the way.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of interruptions, and Alex has ended up, since we cross-trained, we'd lost our model room person, so he had to go back there and do the model room. That's where he started, learn that job. So then when this person left, he took over there. He did waxing and finishing alloy, and now he's doing scanning, printing models, learning to design. And in March, we had one of our technicians who's had 40 years experience, had a stroke.
Oh boy.
And that was like a death in the family.
Oh, I bet.
Sure.
She's not going to be able to return. Can't get her driver's license because of her peripheral vision.
Oh, geez.
Anyway, that's where we're at right now. I have my 2 sons, and I have my model room technician who worked for me before, who's a trained technician, but she prefers just to do the model room, and she pretty much runs the managerial end of the business.
That's interesting. Your model room technician is the manager. Never heard that.
Well, she's not a manager, but she does the management tasks. She does the billing and things like that.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
So Austin's probably the manager, the real manager.
Probably.
Yeah.
So that's what I was gonna. That's what I was
I'm
gonna
supposed
ask.
to be, but I'm not going to be around. It's time for him to step up and learn how to do that.
Let him deal with the drama.
Yeah. So, Austin, did you know when you were in college that you wanted to work with your dad? And parlayed with that, did you grow up in the lab? Were you guys always in the lab?
Yeah, so I was coming in probably 8th grade, freshman year of high school, coming in and opaquing copings and bridges and all that kind of fun stuff. And probably even prior to that, I was coming in and making a mess and with waxers and putting wax on models that I shouldn't have been messing with. And
did you cast bugs?
Yeah, we do have a couple, some stink bugs and spiders.
That is the weirdest thing to me when I talk to people that grew up in labs casting bugs.
I have a stink bug on my desk.
Yeah, so I mean, after high school, I went off to Ohio State, and I stayed there for about 2 years, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. So me and my dad had a conversation, and he kind of put the option out there. He said, hey, why don't you transfer home to Cincinnati, and you can come work part-time in the lab while you figure out what you want to do. So that's what happened. I transferred back to Cincinnati, finished my marketing degree there, and I was working part-time in the lab. As soon as I graduated, I think I graduated on like a Tuesday, and I was here, Wednesday, starting full-time. So he was like, get in here as soon as you can. So, been here ever since.
Awesome.
Like you said, as soon as I started, it was kind of around the time where, Whitmix was having their digital forum, and we had gone to Chicago, and we were learning all about 3Shape and digital dentistry, and that just really intrigued me. I was like, I've learned how to do kind of the hands-on approach, but I went to a high school that we had laptops there. So that was kind of like my intro to computers. And it just, I just kind of fell in love with the, designing aspect on the computer. So that's kind of how it all started for me. And, been here ever since.
Wow.
So did you hand wax before you designed, or did you just go straight into designing?
Yeah. So my dad made kind of a rule that I needed to learn how to do everything by hand before moving on to the computer. He's like, you'll always need to know how to do this, which I guess if my computer ever crashes, I may need to. But no, I mean, we still seal margins when we, mill wax for gold crowns and EMAX.
Yeah.
So you still have to know how to do that stuff. To get my CDT, you have to wax
Nice.
a couple 3-unit bridges and finish metal and solder and all that kind of stuff. So it's good to know how to do all those things. And I got that in my back pocket if I ever need it.
And so now you're training your brother to design?
Yeah. So we have 4 technicians here. Well, 5, I guess. We like everybody to learn how to do everything.
Yep.
So, right now he's finishing zirconia and printing models and designing abutments and all that kind of stuff. So he's slowly learning how to design just because, we're spread so thin right now. It's really hard to find work. I'm sure you guys have seen that too.
Oh, yeah.
So slowly but surely we're all kind of getting cross-trained and everything. But yeah, I mean, he's learning how to design, and production can only increase when you have multiple designers and multiple furnitures.
Alex, how do you like designing?
So far, so good. Right now, basically, all I'm doing is the frameworks for like PFCs for building porcelain on.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I've been doing. Learning the anatomy has been kind of a slower process for me, just because I'm kind of thrown all over the place here.
Can't imagine.
Yeah, I really do like designing. I like being on the computer, and yeah, I think digital dentistry is the future, and it's kind of a priority of mine to focus on becoming.
Well, I love the fact that your dad had you guys learn everything by hand.
Yeah.
So you can always fall back on that for sure. Smart.
Are you guys an all fixed lab?
Yes. We're all fixed crown and bridge, and we'll do implant crowns as well. But I was going to say it's kind of funny. How we learned how to do all the old school stuff, and then we have the new digital way. Our milling machines are in the same room as our casting well. So it's kind of, we've got the prehistoric casting well, and then our tens of thousands of dollars worth of milling machines. So.
Yeah, and your prehistoric casting well is probably in a steel garbage can, maybe?
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
Steel 55-gallon drum that somebody cut in half for me with a welding torch.
Oh, yeah. And you've had it for 30 some odd years.
And it's probably got 1.5 ounces of gold I can't even get to in the crevices.
Oh, yeah.
One day when we retire the casting well, we'll tap it with a steel hammer and get all the gold out of it.
Oh, hell yeah.
There you go.
They've done that with carpets, too, that were under the finishing area.
Yeah, I've cashed in a carpet or two.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Heck yeah.
We tore all of our carpet up when we kind of did a little remodel a couple years ago, and most of the lab was carpeted. So we took all the carpet up and shoved it in some drums and shipped it off to a refiner, and it paid for our new flooring. And
yeah.
Exactly. Heck yeah. Nice. Did you go back to carpet?
No.
Yeah.
No. If we still did a lot of alloy, we would probably get little floor mats and put under the dust collector we have.
Yeah.
We don't do that much metal anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say you probably don't, but the dust collectors were genius because then now it just collects it and falls down and you just throw that in and get money back.
Yeah, they pay for themselves right away.
Yeah, we've got them here too, or we used to when we did metal. Smart.
Do you guys still do a lot of metal? I was still am, but my lab was in Indianapolis, so we're kind of in that same Bible Corn Belt area.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I just sealed about 40 envelopes with letters we're sending out to our doctors, letting them know we'll no longer be doing alloy restoration. So
really?
Yeah. We just feel that there's a lot of good materials out there to replace metal in gold. And, like I said, with limited staff and limited technicians, we feel that we can increase our production a lot more and make a quicker turnaround time for our docs by doing other restorations.
Yep.
So that's kind of the shift we've made in the lab in the last couple weeks. We all had a really good conversation about how to speed up production and all that kinds of stuff. And that was one of our things. We're getting rid of full cast crowns and PFMs. So we'll see how the docs react. But
yeah, that's a bold move.
Yeah.
I don't think I could have done that in Indy.
To my chagrin is I love gold, especially gold crowns and onlays.
Yeah.
But it just takes too much of our time, and we're about a month behind with our doctors. We were 7 weeks at one time.
Wow.
And we have a loyal group that stayed with us, but some of them had to change to a different lab for some of their restorations because, they don't want the maintenance of the temporary coming off and
sure
spending their time going back and re-cementing temporaries, which we don't blame them one bit. But I am going to miss my gold crowns and onlays. That's just because I'm an old school guy.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Mike. I am with you. Believe me, we're a member of the I think it was Austin that said the prehistoric.
Yeah, that's me.
I love gold. I miss that too.
Yeah.
I understand.
I'm going with the modern day, and I'll just miss it. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I welcome the new digital. Well, it's not even new, but our new idea.
Yeah.
Going all digital and some layering still. I'll still be able to use my brush, and that's what matters to me. So, anyway, I'll let you go back to Austin. I just had to get my 2 cents worth in there since our new change.
When you guys sent that letter out, did you, say you had some options and what the options were and what they could switch to, or do you guys call all of those clients?
No, we have. Oh, you go ahead and answer.
We've kind of got an open phone, open door policy here. If any of our docs want to talk about restorations, but for the most part, it'll be replaced with Emax and full contour zirconia.
Yep.
You think you'll lose clients because of it?
My dad talked to one of our clients this weekend, kind of explaining, the shift that we were making, and she totally understood. And she's probably in her late 40s. Early 50s. So, she's done a lot of gold work with us. And to be honest, we don't do a ton of gold anymore. We have a few doctors that do, but I feel like for the most part, everybody's pretty much transitioned and accepted with open arms, zirconia and lithium disilicate, and that makes it easier for us.
Yeah, and I think the patients demand, those aesthetics and wanting the zirconia and the Emax over having metal in their mouths, I
Sure.
think.
We had a doc send us a trio scan, and I guess his assistant or whoever entered the restoration put that they wanted a full cast crown in there. So, we made a pretty full cast crown for him, sent it to him, and I got a call from the doc. He goes, "Hey, I showed this beautiful crown to our patient." She goes, "You're not putting that in my mouth."
Mm-hmm.
and they said back. She said, "I don't want gold. You can make them as pretty as you want, but people just don't want them anymore. And it's expensive.
Yeah.
It really is. So I'm sure if they understood the benefit of gold and they had other gold in their mouth, it might make more sense to them. But, younger people that, this may be their first crown or whatnot, they don't want gold in their mouth.
I agree.
But what's funny is when you talk to most dentists or technicians, they would trust gold over everything else.
Sure, yeah. I agree. But, more studies come out with zirconia every day. And I feel, it's all about how you prepare it before you send it to the doc. If you polish your occlusion and, if they need to make adjustments, you got to make sure that they're polishing it as well. I think the more information you tell your doc, because they don't know the materials like we do.
No.
So if you, school them and tell them what they need to do, it's better for the patient.
I agree. That's a great approach. And you'll be like gold free and happy, not have to do all of that legwork to get a crown done. I agree with you guys' thinking. It's going to be super efficient, faster, and everything's going to be better.
And Mike, you'll be able to cash in that casting machine sooner than later.
Some docs may have a little pushback about it, and we may sneak a couple more gold crowns for them. We'll see. To be determined.
Yeah. Did you ever try outsourcing the metal?
Yeah, so we did do a couple digital gold crowns, and I don't know if I should mention who we did them with or not, but
depends if it was good or not.
Yeah, and it could have been a settings thing, but the margins were open. It just wasn't something that we never would have sent it out of our lab looking like that.
Yeah.
So we just kind of took one on the face there and just printed one ourselves. So
absolutely. So what's Emerick working on now? What's the next big thing in the lab?
So right now we're just trying to play catch up, but back when technician had a stroke, I was finishing up my last training session with Strawman Co-Diagnostics, and
I
we were
love
going,
co-diagnostics.
yeah, it's an awesome software. So we were getting ready to dip our toes in the surgical guide world.
Yep.
So we've got 2 printers here, and we got a big model printer, and then we've got a printer we can do our stents and our guides on, and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's the next, I guess, adventure we're going to be taking together is learning all about, surgical guides. And we have an oral surgery group across the hall from us, and they're always like, hey, I'm tired of outsourcing this. When are you guys going to get busy with this? So like I said, we just keep hitting roadblocks, but I'm sure everybody's seen that. But that's the next big thing for us.
That's great.
Yeah.
Right before I left my lab, that's what I was getting into, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it's cool.
I thought it was fascinating, and your ability to connect and create relationships through it is huge.
Yeah, and how many crowns, implant crowns do you get? And you're like, wow, this could have been done so much better, whether it was placement or depth or angulation. How many cases could you have made easier on yourself if you could have just designed a guide to place this implant better? I think it'll save the lab and a lot of time and a lot of
being part of the team.
I mean, anytime you can be a part of the beginning, the planning is huge. Do you guys do a lot of full arch?
I wouldn't say a lot. No, I mean, we do a couple a year, but we don't do any all on fours or anything like that. It's mostly bridge work and or single units.
Yeah, but some of those single unit implants is what really needs the guide.
Exactly. I mean, especially if you want to do screw retained, it's like
which everybody wants now.
Right. We can, the angled screw axis abutments only have, I think it's like a 30, 35 degree.
Mm-hmm.
So you have limitations, but if you can get in from the beginning and plan with, the GP and the surgeon, then you're going to have a better result.
Yeah. Well, that's super cool because I wish I could still do it, honestly. But one of the reasons we have you guys on is talking about the Whitmix digital form that's coming up at the end of October. And Bernie says you guys have been to every one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's hardcore, because how many have there been now, Bernie? What's this one?
This is the 9th year in a row we're doing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is insane.
It would have been 10, except, of course, last year because of COVID.
Yeah, that's the only
was
one.
canceled.
We all missed.
We'll call it 9.1.
9.1, exactly.
9 point COVID.
9 point COVID. And obviously, there's a lot of dental meetings. I'm sure you go to Chicago. But what drew you to the digital form 9 years ago?
So that was like right when I came out of college, and we had bought the software, and we're in Cincinnati, they're in Louisville. It was just a 2-hour drive down the road, so it was almost kind of perfect timing and exactly what we needed. And it was a small, I think, Bernie, you can correct me on this, but I think there was maybe 20 to 30 people there, maybe even less than that.
I would say the first couple were in the 20, 30 range, yeah. And actually, we had a room that we held it in at Whitmix that really only had capacity for about 40 comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kept it to that for several years. But then we ventured out into the hotel rooms, meeting rooms, and now it's bigger.
Were there a lot of conventions that happened that were dedicated to digital that weren't like in-lab specific 9 years ago?
The only one that we had heard of.
Yeah, were there other options?
Not really.
There weren't a lot. I will say that Whitmix, at the time I was working for Vita and before I came to Whitmix, and I was blown away to see how Whitmix had jumped into the digital arena. Because we all thought of Whitmix, and some still do, as that 100-plus-year-old company that makes gypsums and investments and that.
Where I get my stone.
Yeah. And so I was amazed. They did they had an outsourcing service where they did all the milling at the time, and that kind of surprised me. And as a result, just about the time I came, we were starting to look into making zirconia and all that. And we thought, maybe it's time that we start sharing this information we've learned. And we decided to have our first one. And again, it was fairly small, but it was, I think, one of the best we had. It was fantastic. The people just were, everybody wanted to know,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody was vocal, and there were a lot of questions, a lot of discussions, and we all left there feeling like this was a good idea and we should do it again.
I feel like the best part about that for me, and probably for everybody else, was you got to talk about the digital new age with 20 other technicians that didn't really have a clue either. You know, some people knew stuff about this and some people knew stuff about that, and we all got to share that information with each other. I think the one main takeaway I took from that was I remember talking to this guy about custom abutments, and we had no clue. You know, we were just using stock abutments and casting gold to them and whatnot. And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can design these abutments, you know, on your computer and send them to a milling center and get them back. And that was like, I think the one huge thing for me that I took away from that first one was custom abutments. I
You
just
didn't
thought
even hear about it till you got there?
no. Well,
That's
Well,
awesome.
It was 9 years ago, though. Remember?
I was just out of school, and I was like, wow, that's so cool.
It was a different world than 9 years ago. Of course, printing wasn't even an idea then, at least in the dental industry.
Yeah.
So everything was just opening with milling. You know, there had been the CEREC system around on the clinical side and starting on the lab side, but it was, you know, relatively new, and not everybody jumped on it at the beginning.
Yeah.
So, but it was a very exciting time, I will say that.
So when you started it, Bernie, was it more of a one-shot deal, or were you thinking this is going to be an every year thing?
I think it was a one-shot deal. We just wanted to, you know, it started out actually as we thought we'd have a meeting with some laboratories, customers, and kind of feel our way just to find out what they're looking for, and you know how we could play a part in that. That was our objective for the first one, and it sort of evolved in the planning to be more of an educational thing because we had speakers who were quite knowledgeable and experienced. And I'm not just talking about, you know, professional speakers who had been on the circuit, so to speak. I'm talking about lab owners that, you know, were so excited and wanted to share their experiences. And that's what a lot of people did. We even had people from the audience come up and just talk about their experience starting their digital journey. And it really turned out to be great. And I think Austin's right. You know, it was an experience for everyone. We all learned from there because we did a lot of networking, a lot of talking with peers, and that was a great thing.
Yeah, and collectively, nobody really had any idea what they were doing.
No, not really. But I will say I got so much email and telephone calls from people saying, we got to do this again. This was fantastic. And so, of course, the second one started, the planning of it started pretty soon after that we finished the first one. And of course, it's grown since.
Yeah, so now that you do it every year, how do you stay ahead of the curve? Like, how do you decide who you want to come and speak to? Do you have people getting in touch with you asking to speak, or do you guys have like a think tank and say, all right, this is what we want to talk about this year?
A little bit of both, Barbara. We have people who contact us and say, yeah, I'd love to be a part of it. You know, is there any room for me? That happens, which is good because, you know, it's not easy to put together. We have a pretty packed schedule, a lot of speakers every year. Yeah. So, you know, it's kind of hard to make sure we populate that agenda with the right topics and the right people. So, of course, we have a little group inside that we sit and think, who should we get? Who's going to be the best teachers? Who are the ones that are going to give the most information and useful information, practical information? Yeah. So, you know, and it's grown. And then, you know, we wanted to make sure we had someone from a regulatory perspective to give an hour of you know, regulatory credit.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So that grew that part of it and so on. And it was kind of a natural growth, I think, kind of a organic growth. You know, the truth is, it's interesting. At the beginning, we had to search, and now we have so many people on a list that either have asked or we've thought about having in the past that we just weren't able to fit in for one reason or another. And so we kind of choose from a list that we've already, you know, have made over the last, each year it grows over the last several years. But we have a really, I think, a great combination of speakers and topics this year. This is our biggest and best, and that's what we say every year because it really is. It grows every year. And we're looking at just about 200 people this year,
Wow.
plus speakers and exhibitors and Whitmix folks and all that. But yeah, it started out at 20 or 30, I guess, as Austin said, and has now grown to, and we're capping it. I think we could do a lot more and maybe eventually will. Our objective is not to become, the lab day of the Midwest or anything, but, we just want to make sure we can help as many of our customers and friends as possible with the information that our speakers are willing to share.
So you mentioned having vendors there. Do you guys have printers and equipment and things that people can really just get their hands on and check out?
We do. It's interesting. Now, this year we have 20 exhibitors, and we've had in the past, 10 or 12 or something like that. And part of it is the limitation in space, in room size. But here we have 20, and again, it is limited to 20 because of the space. But we have all kinds of interesting vendors, printers, mills, and everything really. Implant companies. We've got just a ton of digital oriented companies.
Yep.
And mostly, and or people we've been friendly with through the years. We have PTC, for instance, coming. That kind of thing because they're good friends of ours, and they have great products.
Well, to the Emerick's point, you got to know the analog and how to do it in order to do it in digital, and that's where PTC comes in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. We have, I think, a good combination, no matter what your level of experience is with the digital side of things or even in dental technology in general. I mean, it's probably not a beginner's event, but certainly if somebody is relatively new to the digital side, I think they're going to get an awful lot of good information that they'll be able to, really put to practical use when they return to the lab. And those, we have a little more advanced things. This year we have a few prosthodontists on the.
Oh my God, you do?
Yeah. Well,
wow.
We want to cross over. We
Yep.
we want to make sure that labs understand what the dentists are looking at and what their needs are and what it is that they would like to share with the laboratories. So we've got some interesting, I'll tell you some names that are on here. In fact, I'll just start at the top of my list here.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to give us a snapshot of the program.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have Lee Culp is speaking, and he's a friend, and everybody knows Lee does a great job, and he's doing a program which is entitled "The Evolution of the Dental Laboratory." There's so much more beyond just creating teeth, and he does a really good job of that. And of course, it is a digital world for him, and he will be sharing his experience in that with us.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Dr. Jimmy Charette, who's a local prosthodontist. By local, I mean in Louisville. And he's talking about leveraging digital dentistry and full arch implant therapy. So that's for the more experienced, I would say, laboratories.
Yeah, but from a prosthodontist view, that's interesting. That would be a good one.
Well, you can't really separate the two. I think it's important that we have a dentist. And we'll have dentist attendees as well.
Interesting.
Mostly from schools, because we do a lot of school business with all our, our articulators, Danar and Hanno and Whitmix articulators, the semi-adjustables and such. So we have invited some of the schools, and some of the professors from the schools are coming. I don't know what the percentage is, the ratio is, but, we have...
Yeah, more the merrier.
A number of dentists. And I think that's going to be great for the networking aspect of this as well. Having dentists and technicians standing around in the welcome reception and the breaks and and the lunches. I mean, we have full lunches and a dinner, and a lot of stuff is included in this. This is also a social networking opportunity along with a really good educational one too.
Yeah, absolutely.
We also have Jill Swafford on the program, and I know you know Jill.
Good old Jill, ladies of the mill. Yep.
Yes, since she was so recently had her program.
She's amazing on stage, by the way.
She's great. And
it's unbelievable.
I had to make a couple calls because I didn't know of her before, but I called some people at Dentsply because she spoke for one of their annual programs, and I can't remember what it was. but whoever it was I spoke to said, I wouldn't hesitate. She's terrific. So we have her speaking. Her program is, we may not all be on the same page, but we all have to be reading the same book, which is pretty interesting.
Oh, I like that. That sounds super interesting.
It is.
I'm not even on the right shelf. I don't even.
Yeah. We know you're speaking, Elvis.
No, I'm not. Not here.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I save everybody this time.
So, and then we have Dr. Michael Shearer, who is a prosthodontist from California, quite well known, does a lot of educational courses.
Yeah, I've seen him online a lot.
Yeah, he's amazing, actually. And he's doing envisioning digital workflows for the clinician and technician. So again, it's a melding of the two disciplines, and I think it's an important thing that we showcase both of them together. And then I've asked Bennett Napier, of course, because you have to have Bennett, and he's
wouldn't be a party without him.
Wouldn't be a party without him. And he's doing a Dental Lab Market 2025, where we headed. So he's looking a little bit into the future, and he's always wonderful, of course. I have Dr. Paul Feuerstein, who has been a friend for many, many years. He is a dentist in Massachusetts who was a contributor, like the editor, I think, of the technology section of Dentistry Today. And he's quite well known. I bet you've seen him around. I have
too. Yep.
Yeah, because he's a one-of-a-kind look. He looks like Santa Claus, kind of. He has very white, long hair and a white, long beard, and he's just one of the greatest guys. And
I'd go more Papa Smurf, but I get you.
Papa Smurfish with the... Paul is talking about something very interesting, and that is how in-office restorations that are happening today, how they affect the relationship between lab and the dentist.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Juicy subject. I love it.
Juicy subject. And what I've asked him to do, and what he said he will sort of, he'll sort of lay the foundation, the groundwork, and then he wants to open it up and have an open discussion about it. So that should be interesting.
I'll make sure I'm in the room for that one.
Yeah, it should be good. Then we have Mary Bartlett, who we all love, and she's doing a
good old SafeLink.
SafeLink, yeah. She's doing applying the hierarchy of controls to health and safety, so that'll be good.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a panel discussion with Lee and Dr. Feuerstein and Dr. Shearer. And
oh, nice. Yeah.
I love panel discussions.
Yeah, me too. Cool. That's kind of one of the... We did that since the very first one. I know the Emricks will remember we had 4 or 5 people come up, and we had a long discussion, and everybody said that was kind of the highlight of the whole thing, because that's when people really open up. It was great. It was great. It was really great. Now, the other thing we're doing this time for the first time is we're doing breakouts. So you leave the main lecture hall.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And go into smaller rooms, meeting rooms that hold 40 or 50 or whatever it is. And we're doing a bunch of those breakouts. So I'll just go quickly through those. Those are on Friday after lunch, and not during when other people are speaking in the main hall.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So we have Al Filastri will be speaking on bringing the patient to your 3-shape digital design desktop, which is very interesting. I've seen this a number of times, which talks about the Bellis product.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's pretty amazing what he does with it. And then we'll talk about dental marketing, especially in the digital side for the 21st century. We have a couple of our people, Chelsea and Bryce. And then we have Mark Williamson doing a demo with Tay Harvey.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That'll be a great one.
Whoa. Mark Williamson and Tay Harvey together?
Yes.
That's epic.
It's epic. It's awesome.
That's going to be epic.
It's awesome. It really is. Two great people.
So go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. What were we going to say?
I was going to ask if the audience, you present the breakouts and then they can pick and choose where they go?
Ahead of time. We're asking everybody as they sign up for the meeting to choose the breakouts. Because, as I said, they're smaller rooms. And if you have 200 people and everybody wants to go to the Mark and Tay thing, if they can't do it. Now, the one thing we're doing is we've split the breakouts into 2 1-hour breakouts repeated. So the same program will be done 2 1 hours in a row.
So if there's a conflict, you can do
Yes.
Great idea.
In most cases, I think people will be able to see what they want. And then Corey Lambertson, who just left us, which is a killer, because if you know Corey, he's an amazing guy. He went to Asiga.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. But Corey's been with us for years and just a great guy and very knowledgeable about printing and about everything really digital. He's doing a program on temporary design with diagnostic wax ups in 3Shape.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and that one is, I think that's going to be popular. He had to get permission to do it, a 3Shape program, but it was on the books for a long time. And Asiga certainly wasn't, they didn't object to it.
Sure, yeah.
So that should be interesting. We have Evan Kemper, one of our other tech support guys, doing it with him.
Nice.
And then Nan Boyd, who works for Derby Dental Laboratory here in Louisville.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nan's great. She's done a program or two with us in the past in the digital forums in past years, and she's talking about how 3D printing revolutionized their business.
Nice.
So that should be real good.
Well, we all know Derby's in that deep.
Deep
Yeah.
and early. And early.
Yeah.
They really saw the writing on the wall very early on.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they helped us in a way, too. We went there a lot to talk with.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it kind of helps guide us. And
So,
then,
oh, sorry, I thought it was done.
I'm
Keep
almost
going.
No, it keeps going, Barb. It keeps going.
It keeps going. I'm told you, this
jam-packed
is a rich
weekend.
program. I mean, we got a lot of information. All right, well, I'll finish real quickly.
Yeah.
We've got Ian O'Neill from Roland doing milling custom abutments and glass ceramics.
Yeah.
Brandon Smith, who's with 3Shape, doing this is the only one that we have that's a participation hands-on course. So we have 20 laptops and with 3Shape software.
Wow.
And people can sit down with the. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So 20 people will be able to participate twice. There'll be 2 of these.
Yeah, nice.
Now this one's longer. This is double. So instead of a 1 hour, this one's a 2 hour, and there's 2 of them. So it's 4 hours worth.
Wow.
And that's on digital denture design. So that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
They're going to also do removables, even partials, RPDs and stuff. And 2 more. So hang in there, Barbara. I'm almost done.
Oh, yeah. I am.
We've invited Rich Green, who's going to be doing it, conquering zirconia and overcoming everyday challenges to shading, cracking, and translucency. And he works for B&D.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, they'll be there. And then lastly, we have Whitney Mccarty. Last but not least, we have Whitney McCarty, who also did a program last year, or not last year, but last forum with us. And she's doing a program on the utilization of the C-clamp in the mill, in the Roland mill.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, it is, actually.
I've heard about that C-clamp. Well, I never got to use it, but that'd be neat to hear a perspective of it. Yeah.
Talking about the clinical and laboratory involvement with both sides. So anyway, that is the program. And
Are you sure? Are you done, Barony?
Not quite.
Can't squeeze in like 6 more people? Come on.
I tried for you. But no, the other part of it is really important, and that's the networking part. We have a wonderful welcome reception. We have music, and we have a lot of flowing adult beverages and food and all that. And that's on the evening before it starts. So it's on the Thursday, because this program's the Friday and Saturday, the 29th and 30th of October.
Yeah.
So on Thursday evening, when people are arriving on Thursday, we have, welcome reception, food and whatnot. And that's a real good time for networking and meeting the speakers and meeting all the other.
That's a good thing to have, because lately, because I've been going to a few shows, what used to have evening receptions,
right.
They don't. Because of COVID, and to kind of discourage everyone being together. So everyone kind of goes their own way, and you don't have that connection.
Yes.
I'm glad to see you guys are doing it, but how are you handling the COVID during this?
Okay. Well, I'm glad you asked that. We have had a lot of meetings lately, as you can well imagine. I have to say that this was originally planned out for, of course, last October, and that got canceled. And then we replanned it for July. And then that seemed scary at the time, so I rescheduled it for this October, feeling, well, by October, things should be much more under control. Well, turns out they're not quite.
And then the Delta came along.
Yes, exactly. And the Delta variant came along. And so we even considered canceling it. Even our top management team has talked about that. We don't want to put our friends and customers in harm's way. But after a bunch of meetings with them and also the hotel, I talked to them quite a few times about this because there's a lot of money involved, as you can imagine.
Sure.
And it turned out that we decided we're going to move forward. I had a long conversation with Judy from LMT and even with Jill, since they both had shows very recently, and how they handled them and what they thought and so on. Anyway, we are going to hold our program unless, well, let me just say that if things take a dramatic downturn, or if the governor of Kentucky says you can't have more than X amount of people in the room, something like that, then we may have to reconsider. But so far, we've decided we're moving full steam ahead. We are going to take precautions. We are going to have a mask mandate. We're going to require people to wear masks, throughout the whole thing, because we just want to protect our friends and our customers.
And as someone that went to Lab Day West,
yes,
where they had over 1,000 people and a mask mandate, it wasn't that bad.
No,
it was fine. Everybody just wore a mask. You got used to it. It was kind of funny. You'd see people and you look at them like, I know you, but I don't know you. Who are you? You look familiar.
Right.
But you get over that and it's fine. Don't let it discourage you.
No, and people appreciate that. They know that.
I hope so. I think so. Yeah. Most.
We have to wear them at the lab now all day, every day. I think it's just going back to that. So I think that's a great precaution, and I think people will receive it well.
I agree. I mean, it is what it is. We have to take some precautions, make sure everybody's okay. So that's what we're doing. And, there'll be times like during meals. I mean, you can't always keep it on, but we're trying to space people out as best we can, both in the lecture hall and the breakout rooms, and of course the meals. We have full lunches, and we also have a dinner on Friday night for everyone with an open bar and lots of food. And that is going to be followed up by entertainment. I've hired some really fun, interesting entertainment, and that's going to follow the meal.
Nice.
That's a fun night, Friday night. So
we'll be there. Elvis and I will be there. The Emerick will be there.
We will all be there.
We'll all be there.
Yeah.
It was your birthday last year, as I recall, Barbara.
Yep.
It? Yeah. Well, happy birthday.
It's my birthday today, actually.
When is it?
Today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thanks.
Happy birthday. That's great. I know you went away to some exotic location.
Oh, yeah.
That was when
my girlfriend.
Yeah, she had a girls' trip that weekend. So.
Very nice.
And Whitmix had a meeting about it, and they made sure they had it on a weekend that Barb was available.
Exactly. This year I'll be there. Can't wait.
We're glad that you'll be here this time.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be there recording all weekend, and it sounds like it's going to be a ton of people to choose from.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of people. Let's hope it stays that way. I think it will. I mean, as I said, not one person has called and canceled. I've had a couple people say, well, what would happen? We're planning on coming, but if it gets worse, do we get our money back or anything like that? That kind of thing. So, yes, the answer to that, by the way, is yes, we would never hold.
Yeah.
But it's going to happen, and hopefully we'll have the amount of people that we have now and more. So we'll see.
I think it's going to go off without a hitch. I think it's going to be great. Super looking forward to it.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
I know the Emricks will be there. Have you ever got the Emricks on stage?
I don't think
we
have.
You guys wanting to be on stage?
Are we the entertainment? We might be. I don't know.
Can anybody do a soft shoe? Maybe we can get you up there with some music.
Yeah.
Karaoke, anything?
We'll think of something we can do.
Yeah, I bet you will. That I don't doubt. Well, we wouldn't have it without the Emricks. They're a staple.
So, which breakouts are you guys excited for?
So I printed them all out this morning, and we're bringing everybody. I think we're bringing five or six people down.
Awesome.
Wow, good. Yeah.
We just hired somebody last week. She's fresh out of dental assisting school, and she loves the lab. So, we were looking for a technician. So this will be kind of her first experience into the dental lab industry, kind of convention. So me personally, I'm very interested in the digital temporaries.
Yeah.
And also, I have a marketing degree, so I'm kind of interested in dental marketing. as well.
That's awesome.
Y'all look awesome. So I don't think you could go wrong. I think we're going to try and divide and conquer. And, we'll have a couple people taking the same one, just numbers wise. But those are kind of my two I'm looking forward to.
Great.
Yeah. What about you, Alex?
Looking forward to the marketing one as well.
Nice.
I think marketing I know it's a digital form. It's important,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's really important. And especially today, we've got a couple people who are, let me just say, young enough to be totally immersed and know all there is to know about social media and that kind of marketing, which is not my forte. I mean, I'm learning and I'm doing what I can with it, but we've got a couple people who are truly amazing at that. And so we've done a pretty good job putting ourselves into the whole social media space. And that's going to be a big part of their presentation.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I've also always learned a lot from Evan and Corey, so I'm looking forward to their theirs.
Not to go back, but during that first dental meeting we had with you guys, we had bought our 3Shape from another vendor, and as soon as we left there, I was like, well, we need to switch to Whitmix.
Yeah.
Because, their training and their customer support, it's, and I'm not just blowing smoke to Bernie right now, but it's honestly the best I've found in any other, major company.
Yeah, it's top shelf.
That's awesome. And I've heard that from a lot of people.
They've helped create my boys' knowledge about, they've got them through some crazy stuff. They really have. And I've been a Whitmix user since I've been in this business for 45 years.
Yeah.
And I've always been part of the family, I guess you could say. And I always will be.
That's great.
Aww.
Well, we're glad.
It's wonderful to see them have progressed all these years in this wild, wacky digital world right there with everybody. So
they have been a staple in our industry and continue to be a great resource to labs.
Yeah, well, it's good to hear that.
Your new slogan should be, "We get you through crazy stuff." That should be it.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I already wrote that down. Now, I've heard that so many countless times about our tech support group. They are second to none, truly, in the industry, and they're great guys too. So that makes it a lot more fun.
Oh, it makes it huge. Yeah,
they're very, very good.
Yeah. So anyway, I can't wait to see all of you there. I'm so glad Barb will be with us this time.
Yay!
Yeah. So again, October 29th to the 30th.
Yes.
You're gonna hate me, but Louisville. Did I say it right?
Not quite, but close enough that we knew what you were going to say.
That's all that counts.
Louisville.
Louisville. It's a weird. Believe me, I'm from California. I came here 10 years ago, and I never understood how people pronounce it Louisville, but who knows?
Well, in Kentucky,
yes.
October 29th to the 30th. We're excited to be there. The podcast will be there. The Emricks will be there.
Yay.
As Bernie said, about 1 million people will be up on stage talking for over a weekend. It's jam-packed. I encourage everyone. Check it out.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Emricks, thank you so much for the time. Great to hear your story.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Looking forward to meeting you guys.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in Louisville.
In Louisville. Excellent. We'll talk to you guys all later.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, all.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Using 3D printed Dentca Temporary resin is the easy, fast, clean, and accurate way of creating natural-looking temporary restorations using Dentca Temporary Crown and Bridge 3D print resin.
This new temporary material is FDA cleared, biocompatible, photocurable, and can be printed super fast. That patient can be temporized with the highest quality temporary crown that lasts a minimum of 1 full year in the mouth.
Dentca Crown and Bridge Temporary features excellent lifelike aesthetics and shade matching capability with Vita shades A1, A2, A3, A35, B1, B2, and Bleach. Dentca Temporary Crown and Bridge resin is validated for use with the Asiga Max, Asiga Pro 2, Asiga Pro 4K, and the Whitmix Veribuild printers.
And it's also validated for the curing units Uvatron, Sunray 400 and IntelliRay 600, and the Cure Box Plus. For more information, visit whitmix.com. We appreciate your continued support of the podcast, Whitmix.
Nice. A big thanks to the Emricks for coming on our podcast and telling your story. As you know, I love hearing about families in a lab, and it sounds like they are really setting up the lab for many more years of success. And thanks again to Bernie for continuing to put together a great event year after year, of course, minus last year. So this year's Digital Forum is in Louisville, Kentucky, is being held October 29th and 30th. Sounds like they have a great lineup, which we just went through on the podcast, of speakers and breakout sessions. And at the time of this episode coming out, there are still some spots left for those of you that want to attend. So head over to whitmix.com/events to register. And if you do attend, be sure to find us, because Elvis and I will be at the Preet booth and we can record. See you there.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Yep.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a good week.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Let me tell you, there's hills here and they suck.